Yeah. So let's move to the next part of our Sunday feast, which is the Bhagavad Gita class. Today's class will be given by His Grace Radha Damodar Prabhu. You all very well know Prabhu, but for the benefit of pleasure of devotees and for the new people who are here. So Radha Damodar Prabhu is a very kind and a very sincere Vaishnava, and Prabhu's been doing the live telecasting of the programs, audio, video, and taking care of all the temple programs. And Prabhu does various services, book distribution, and coordinating a lot of events. So with that, let us welcome Prabhu for the Sunday Feast class by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra one time. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Prabhu, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Roshi. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So, I'll share my screen just before we start. You can see? Is it visible? Okay. So, Hare Krishna devotees, thank you for coming for this Sunday Feast program. It's very nice to see everybody on this long weekend. So that shows your dedication to the programs and to the mission of Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Okay. So before we start, let us actually sing the Jai Radha Madhav song that will invoke the auspiciousness and the mood of we being in the Vrindavan. So, Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Gajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Okay. So before we start, we'll offer our prayers to our gurus. So you all can pray along. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmidamena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Vandeham Sri Gurum Sri Yuda Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Sri Rubam Sagrajam Samkadana Rukunatham Vidam Ta Samsajivam Sadvaitam Savadudam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vidamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namastude Tapta Kanjana Gauranki Radhe Vrinda Vineshwari Prashabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhuve Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prajarine Nirvishesha Shvinyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, thank you. So today I been given this verse on Bhagavad Gita, 14th chapter, verse number 26. So this is a very wonderful verse. Thank you, Satsara Prabhu and Jasudra Mataji for giving me this verse, because I learned a lot of things just by studying this verse. So let's all understand this in more deep. So let's sing this one. Please sing along with me. Mam chayo vipicharena chayo vipicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatitayatan brahma bhuya kalpate ma chayo vipicharena Bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatitayatan brahma bhuyaya kalpate machoyo vicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatitayatan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. Okay, I'm sorry for my mispronunciation there. So anybody would like to sing? Yes, Mataji. Mam chayo vebhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatitayatan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. Anybody else? Mam chayo vipacharena Bhakti yogena sevate. Sagunan samatityan. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One more person. Mam chayo vibhicharena. Bhakti yogena sevate. Sagunan samatityan. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Mam chayo vyabhicharena. Bhakti yogena sevate. Sagunan samatityan. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Mam chayo vyabhicharena. Bhakti yogena sevate. Sagunan samatityan. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Anybody else wants to say? Mam chayo vyabhicharena. Bhakti yogena sevate. Sagunan samatityan. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So we'll read the word by word meaning. Ma, unto me, cha, also, ya, a person who, avyapicharena, without fail, bhakti yogena, by devotional service, sevate, renders service, sa, he, gunan, the modes of material nature, samitityaya, transcending, etan, all these, Brahma bhuyaya, elevated to the Brahma platform, kalpade, becomes. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the mode of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. So we have the purport. I have split into two parts. Two devotees can read. First part is this one. Any volunteers?
So this verse is a reply to Arjuna's third question. What is the means of attaining to the transcendental position? As explained before, the material world is acting under the spell of the modes of material nature. One should not be disturbed by the activities of the modes of material of nature. Instead of putting his consciousness into such activities, he may transfer his consciousness to Krishna activities. Krishna activities are known as Bhakti Yoga, always acting for Krishna. This includes not only Krishna, but his different plenary expansions, such as Rama and Narayana. He has innumerable expansions. One who is engaged in the service of any of the forms of Krishna or his plenary expansions is considered to be transcendently situated. One should also note that all the forms of Krishna are fully transcendental, blissful, full of knowledge, and eternal. Such personalities of Godhead are omnipotent and omniscient, and they possess all transcendental qualities. So if one engages himself in the service of Krishna or his plenary expansions with unfailing determination, although these modes of material nature are very difficult to overcome, one can overcome them easily. This has already been explained in the 7th chapter.
Do you want to read it, the next one? This verse is one who surrenders unto Krishna at once surmounts the influence of the modes of material nature. To be in Krishna consciousness or in devotional service means to acquire equality with Krishna. The Lord says that his nature is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge, and the living entities are part of parcel of the Supreme, as gold particles are part of a gold mine. Thus, the living entity in his spiritual position is as good as gold, as good as Krishna in quality. The difference of individuality continues, otherwise there would be no question of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means the Lord is there, the devotee is there, and the activity of exchange of love between the Lord and the devotee is there. Therefore, the individuality of two persons is present in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the individual person. Otherwise, there would be no meaning to Bhakti Yoga. If one is not situated in the same transcendental position with the Lord, one cannot serve the Supreme Lord. To be a personal assistant to a king, one must acquire the qualifications. Thus, the qualification is to become Brahman, or free from all material contamination. It is said in Vedic literature, Brahmaiva san Brahmapi itai. One can attain the Supreme Brahman by becoming Brahman. This means that one must qualitatively become one with Brahman. By attainment of Brahman, one does not lose his eternal Brahman identity as an individual soul.
Thank you. Thank you, Madhav Chaitanya, and I forgot your name. What? Anne. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Haribo. Very nice. So this, first of all, reading Prabhupada's purport is the greatest thing. We are directly associating with Srila Prabhupada just by reading the Prabhupada's purport. So, amazing service we are doing. Haribo. So the topics we are going to cover are, this is from the, the 14th chapter, the three modes of material nature. That's the heading for this this chapter. And the important points from this verse we are going to discuss are the three modes of material nature and the devotional service and unfailing in all circumstances and the Brahman. So I heard few classes on this one, so I was inspired by giving from one of these classes. So I'll go based on that class, and I picked up various topics from here and there as well. So let's start. So the background is this verse is the second last verse from the 14th chapter. So usually towards the end of any chapter, we give the summary and crust of the chapter. So this particular verse is very, very important for everybody to learn and know in depth. And the 14th chapter, as I explained before, it talks about the three modes of material nature. The chapter 13 also explained how a living entity or Purusha is entangled in this Prakriti, material nature, due to his desire for enjoyment. As we all know, we are all in this material world because we had a desire to enjoy separately from Krishna. So that's why we are here, and Krishna has created this material world just for us to enjoy, but that is not our real position. So Krishna wants us back in the Goloka. So that's our objective. So Krishna is teaching us to Arjuna what is this material world is, and why should you be back there. All these details are explained in this chapter. And one who understands this chapter attains liberation, and attain transcendental nature. That's what is the promise Krishna himself is giving here. So that's why we need to understand this this knowledge very carefully, and we need to not only know it, we need to execute it. So that's the basis of this one. So now, so this chapter talks about, so Bhagavad Gita in general talks about 5 topics, right? What are the 5 topics? The Jiva is about the living entity, then Ishvara, then Ishvara means the Supreme Lord, Karma, Karma means the activities of the Jiva, Kala means the time, Prakriti is the material nature. And this particular chapter, we are talking about the material nature part, right? So we are going a little detail in this one. So by material nature, what do we normally understand? Anybody? What's the change? So the nature, basically material nature means nature in short. So whatever we see, everything is nature, right? And we actually want to enjoy the nature, right? Isn't that true? Right? How do we want to enjoy the nature normally? Lord it over. So in practical control, we want to control it. So how do we control you? One example somebody can give. So we build highways, we destroy everything, we just build so many buildings, we build so many things. We are trying to enjoy whatever is there in this material nature, right? That is our understanding. So what are we thinking? We are thinking we are going to enjoy it, right? Are we actually enjoying it? That's the real question, right? So the material nature, whatever we do, we all want to enjoy. But here Krishna is telling us, okay, so we are thinking that we will enjoy, but Krishna is telling, no, that is not true. You are actually not going to enjoy here. This is not the place of enjoyment, right? So Krishna actually, to make us understand this concept, Krishna is introducing the concept of the 3 modes, the guna, right? To make us understand how these modes are the actual cause of our activities, right? So Krishna is introducing this concept of guna. So in the 5th verse of the 14th chapter, Krishna is telling there are sattvam, rajas and tamas, iti guna, prakriti, sambhava. So material nature consists of these 3 modes called mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. What are the Sanskrit terminology for that? Goodness means sattva guna, then passion, rajoguna, and tamoguna. So these 3 modes are the one actually influencing us. So what are actually these 3 modes? They are actually the 3 subtle forces that shapes our interaction between consciousness and matter. Maybe that's a little tough definition, right? So we'll try to understand a little deeper this one. So what happens is, the word guna has one more meaning. The meaning is rope. Rope, what does rope do? What we can do with the rope? Tie it. We can bind it, right? So, in the same way, we can bind. So, this rope is actually binding us to this material world, right? So, what happens is, we all have a certain inclination. We call it inclination. So we all want to say, we want to watch a movie. So that is some people's inclination. Some people want to play cricket. or football. Okay, so that is some people's inclination. Some people just want to browse all day on the internet. Some people will just want to play video games, right? So we all have some kind of inclination, right? So that is this inclination. It's actually a pull, right? It's a force. And Satsara Prabhu used to tell, what is our inclination when we are sitting alone exactly? We are sitting alone and we have nothing to do. What do we tend to do? That's where our force is going to go to us, right? So if we analyze ourselves, right, we can see that, oh, I got some free time. What would I do? So some people want to eat some very nice food, gulab jamun. So if I get an opportunity, I just want to eat gulab jamun, right? Or jeera rice, right? So, everybody has their own favorite food, right? So we are given an opportunity, we all want to go and do certain things. And we are thinking that we are going to enjoy that, right? We are actually being pulled. We are being pulled into that direction. So I want to eat that. I want to eat that particular gulab jamun. So I think I will be enjoying it. That is my tendency. That is my inclination. Okay. So that is the norm, right? I want to acquire more money, more wealth, just because I can enjoy, I can have a beautiful house, okay, and I can have a home theater there inside, and I can watch wonderful movies and all those things. So that's our way of thinking as our enjoyment. But in reality, Krishna is saying that is not true. That is not our true enjoyment. It's a temporary material. We are in this temporary material world for a short period of time. We're not going to enjoy this place at all. So, so another example is, let's say, to understand this a little better, a man goes with a dog, right? And a dog starts pulling him in certain directions, right? Typically the person will go along with the dog wherever the dog wants. But dog may not want, we don't want the dog to go to that particular direction many times. But still, the dog pulls us into that direction, right? But if we actually want the good thing for the dog, we have to take control over the dog. And we need to go into a different direction, right? So we have to resist the dog's pulling, right? So Krishna is telling us we need to resist this tendency to go according to the pull. Okay, this is a very strong pull. Actually, the material, the modes, the three modes are actually very strong, and that is one of the energies of Krishna. And that pull is very strong. Even though it's very easy for me to say this way, I know it's very hard to control this. So if we all go along with the pull, then we are going to suffer. That's what Krishna is saying. We are only going to suffer. But instead, if we are able to resist and control, then we are taking control over our destiny, right? So that is the understanding we have here. And before I go a little deeper, so this is the slide I prepared for my last time when I discussed. So these three modes are summarized here a little bit. There are a lot more detail in the 18th chapter, but from this chapter, the 14th chapter, we can say mode of goodness, some of the binding forces of the senses of happiness, satisfaction, knowledge, and superiority. Those are the symptoms you can see for a person in mode of goodness. And And I'm just going to say, for the person in passion, he's attached to fruitive activities. He's attached to, he has a lot of desires, and he wants to fulfill all those desires. That is how people in passion wants to take care of things. And those who are in mode of ignorance, they're one of the main thing is the laziness. You can see laziness in their every activities. They are mostly sleepy. They are, Prabhupada says madness. You can say madness in them, basically. So those are the symptoms of the people in ignorance. You can see all these things. We all have some sort of a little bit of everything in this symptoms in all of us. We are all operating in these mixed modes all the time. So we have to actually make gradual progress from these things. So again, the destination for those who are in the mode of goodness, they can actually go to the higher planets, okay, after death. And then they, but whereas those who are in passion, they remain on earthly planets. And those who are in ignorance, they take birth in the lower planets. That's what these verses are telling. Now, coming back to what we were discussing earlier. So, as I explained, we are being pulled in different direction, and we need to put a stop to it. We need to control it. That's what Krishna is saying. And and to do that, first thing is that we had to come to an understanding that we had to resist this inclination. So, as an example, we had to chant early morning in the japa, right? We had to get up early morning in the Brahma Muhurta, and we put the alarm, right? I have to wake up at 4:30 in the morning. But what happens? We are very sleepy, right? So what we will do? We do press the snooze button, right? So that is our tendency. We have to resist that, right? Previous night we made a determination. Today I'm going to wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I will be doing my chanting early in the morning. But no, that's not our tendency is that we want that laziness part. Earlier I mentioned. So we just want to, I can sleep for 10 more seconds, right? So that's how we start with, right? So, but we need to resist that. Krishna is saying we need to resist that. We need to take control over it. Okay, that this is the pull, the mode is pulling us into that, right? So that invisible force, right? So that invisible force we need to resist. Thank you. So, so Krishna is saying, yes, there is a way you can do this. Okay, but it's not a very difficult thing. Krishna is saying there is a solution to all this problem. What Krishna is saying is, just fully engage in my devotional service. Then you can overcome all this thing. All these modes, you can get over it. That is the significance of this verse, right? There is a solution. Even if we are thinking that, okay, this is very difficult to do, but Krishna is saying, one who fully engages in my devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the mode of material nature. So we need to follow this instruction. So this is the key instruction. So Krishna is actually emphasizing this particular point in various verses, right? Ananya chintayo mam ye jana prapatyante. So that means, but those who worship me with full devotion, meditating upon my transcendental form, I carry them what they lack and preserve what they have, right? This verse is clearly saying us that if you are fully dedicated to me, okay, if you are always thinking of me and worship me with full devotion, that means then you can overcome this most difficult force, the material modes. We can overcome that. right? So that's what now, and another place, this particular verse itself is saying, Mam Chayo Viti Abhijarena. So we are saying that one who is fully in devotional service can overcome this material mode. And later on in 66 verse 18 chapter saying, Sarva Dharman Parichandya Mam Evam Sharanam Bhaja. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. So Krishna is telling again and again that we can overcome just by devotional service, right? So now we also know that Krishna is telling in the 3rd chapter that Prakrite kriyamnani gunai karmati sarvashaha ahangara vimuthatma kartaham idamanyate. So this spirit soul, bewildered by by the influence of false ego, thinks himself as the doer of the activities, which are actually carried out by the 3 modes of material nature. So we are all thinking that whatever we are doing is all because we are doing, right? But it's actually no. It's actually carried out by these 3 modes of material nature. So that's why we had to resist this particular force, right? And what is that force? This is actually one of the external energy of the Krishna. So it's the Durga Devi herself. It's also known as the illusional energy, Maya, right? We need to resist this Maya. So one of the story Jayasubhadra Mataji tells in the classes are like about the train session, right? So you all might have experienced this one, like when we travel in India train in a sleeper coach. After next day morning, after the when you reach a station, a lot of people get into the station and they all want to sit in the reserved coach, right? They will just out of our pity, we'll give them space to sit with us, right? Once we start sitting with them, they start taking over, right? They slowly, people keep coming, and eventually we don't have much space. So that's how the illusionary energy take over from us, right? So that is what we need to resist, right? We had to resist, meaning we need to have a strong conviction. We need to be able to say no to all this thing, right? So so the if you see the word in this avyabhicharina, meaning vyabhichari means meaning one who is not very faithful, right? So here the word is saying avyabhicharina. So Krishna is expecting us to be fully faithful and fully dedicated, right? So it's very important word. So avyabhicharina, that is the word used in this verse. So we need to be fully dedicated to Krishna and full devotion. That is our aim, right? So that's when we will get the result. If we are earlier in Krishna has says in Bhagavad Gita, to whatever extent we surrender unto Krishna, that is the amount we will get benefit. So if we are say 10% dedicated to Krishna, then only we will get only 10% results of this. So if we are say 50%, we will get 50% benefit from all our services. And if we are 100%, that is what is actually expected from all of us. I know it is very difficult, but that's the truth. This whatever Krishna is saying is the truth. If we can do that 100% dedication to Krishna, always think of Krishna, then we will be able to overcome this material nature. In yesterday's Bhakti Shastri class also we just heard this word. So one of the examples Satsara Prabhu mentioned to us, when we are every day we just do our services, okay, do our duty. We had to continue doing our prescribed duties, right? If you do dedicate all this duty for Krishna, then we are perfect. We can actually keep a journal of, while doing our work, how much we remembered Krishna during our day-to-day work. That's a test we can check. So if you are started doing our work in the morning in office, okay, you pray to Krishna, okay, I'm doing this for you, as a service to you, right? Then start your work. Everything will work fantastic. So we should try to practice that, and we should keep a journal of, if possible, see how much we remembered Krishna during this time. Right? So that is how we can see how much 100% dedication to Krishna. And Krishna is saying, so once we become this dedicated to Krishna, then we are actually going to become happy. So that is very difficult to conceive, right? How can, if all the time I'm thinking about Krishna, is it boring? Isn't that boring? But Krishna is saying, no, actually, when we are actually dedicate our services to Krishna, everything to Krishna, Krishna from within is going to give all the happiness to you. He is going to take care of everything. That is assurance Krishna is giving, right? So that's what Krishna had been telling throughout Bhagavad Gita. And he's saying, do not fear, right? So, masucha. So he's saying we should just have faith in Krishna's words and just execute our prescribed duty. So we don't have to change our whatever we are doing right now, but just make sure that whatever we are doing, dedicate it as a service to Krishna. There is a small story about a person. So in his Colonel Petro, he was a Russian military officer, and he was given the World Citizens Award in year 2006. He is famous for, this is the man who averted the nuclear war. Actually, if you all remember, there used to be a time, the Cold War used to happen, right? Cold War time, US and USSR used to be always enemies, but it was a Cold War, there was no open war, but they were all piling up ammunitions, nuclear weapons, everything, and any time any war can happen, that was the end of the entire world, right? At that time, this Colonel Petro was in charge of in the Russian forces, the military forces, in charge of the nuclear missiles and systems. So he was stationed at one of the stations, and there are a lot of devices which monitors all the activities that goes around, right? So so if there is any missile comes, the system detects it, right? And it alerts you. The buttons are there here and there. All of a sudden, this button went off. Okay, one day. This was in 26th September 1983. Okay, so this button went off. That means what? This means there is a missile coming, USA is attacking Russia, and with one nuclear bomb, the whole USSR is going to be gone, right? Or whole or whatever region. So he was panicking, right? He didn't know what to do. He has to alert all the officers and get prepared for counterattack, right? So all of a sudden, he had very few minutes to react, okay? And he was thinking, what could be wrong here? Is it really a missile that is coming all the way over here? Or is it a malfunctioning of these devices? Okay, that thought came to him, right? And he was in full tension, and he finally decided, no, I will not alert anybody. This could be a malfunctioning, right? And he was just praying after that. So what happened? After some time, it takes around 20 minutes for the missile to reach here. So the USSR. So after some time, it turned out to be a false alarm. So let's think about the mindset of what was going through this Colonel Petro, right? Colonel Petro had two options. He could have actually, alerted everybody, and they could have attacked USA, right, with the missile. That would have destroyed the US, and US would have done a counterattack, and that would have caused, further nuclear calamity. So it would have been a nuclear war, right? Just because of his presence of mind at that time, okay, and just because of his decision not to alert anybody, and just have some faith in God, right? So he was able to avert the entire nuclear calamity. For this reason, he was awarded in year 2006. He's still alive. The World Citizenship Award, right? So what we are learning from here is that we all will get into this kind of situation, right? We don't know what to do a certain time, right? So we are going to have this challenging moment where we don't know whether to do this way or that way. So, but if we resist our temptation, right? If we resist our temptation, we can actually have a better intelligent decision made. If we depend on Krishna at that point of time, okay, above all, if we depend on Krishna at that point of time, we will get the right guidance. So, in order to get that thinking, we need to constantly practice Krishna consciousness, right? When we practice Krishna consciousness, we will be naturally guided by Krishna from within. So that is, and so first thing is, let's have some resistance. Do not immediately react. We take control over ourselves and on a bad situation, and just depend on Krishna, right? That's the lesson we learned from here. And yeah, Krishna is not actually asking us to change our activities or anything, right? So just to want to re-emphasize that fact. And we know this can be achieved through pure devotion, right? So we know that how to get this pure devotion. So pure devotion, as per our acharyas, are anyabhilasha shunyam jnana karmani anavrutam anukulena krishnanu Chilanam Bhaktir Uttama. So that means one should render transcendental loving service unto the Lord Krishna in a favorable way, right? If we do everything in a favorable way under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, right, and follow his instruction, then we are in the right path, right? We should be doing such things. So usually we all approach Krishna for four kind of things, right? We go for when we are distressed, we approach Krishna. When we need some financial issues, that when we go to Krishna. When we want to actually know about Krishna, also we go. So that's when we approach. So when we approach Krishna, Krishna is actually happy with us, because there at least you are coming to Krishna. Now our motivation may be, we may have certain motivation, but the real bhakti is no motivation at all. And that's what we should be achieving, right? We should be going to the anyabhilasha stage. So that can happen by constantly practicing Krishna consciousness. So we need to transcend this three material modes. So we talked about the three modes. So gradually we are all having this mixed modes most of the time, and at some point of time we are in certain mode. But we can train ourselves to go to higher modes. So if we go to from lower modes to the higher mode being the mode of goodness, that is great. But even with mode of goodness, being in God of goodness, we are still incurring karma. We will be getting good karma this time. And a result of it is we will be, after death, we'll go to a higher planetary, heavenly planetary systems. And once we are in heavenly planetary system, we enjoy. Once our, all the pious activities are done, then the results of our pious activities are done, we come back to this material world. Then we start again, the life again, right? We again go through this birth, death, old age, disease, that cycle we again go back. So we don't want to be in this stage. We have to be above this one, above the three modes of nature. We need to transcend the three modes of nature. So how can we do that? That is only by devotional service. That's the simple method Srila Prabhupada has given us, the correct method, just by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Just by chanting this mantra, we can actually transcend these three modes. We can take control over everything. Then we will become favorite person of Krishna, right? So Krishna says here, then we can become one with Brahman. I mean, the Brahman here is actually explained in the next verse, but just for simple understanding, we can become godly. That for the current in the current context. So that is the basis of this. I also would like to actually give another example from Bhagavatam story. Quickly I'll try to say the story. It's a story of Vritasura. Okay, so so there was once upon a time Lord Indra killed his guru. Okay, I mean he was a he was a Brahmana, and he had to guru, meaning it was a temporary guru. Original guru is Lord Brahaspati. So, but there was a guru. His name was, I'm forgetting the name. One moment, please. Yeah, Vishwarupa. Vishwarupa. So because of that, he had to incur a lot of karma, right? So, but his father, Vishwarupa's father, was very unhappy with that, and he did a yajna to take revenge for this person. So, and from the yajna, a demon came. His name was Vritasura. Vritasura is actually was a pure devotee in the past life. He was Chitraketu Maharaj in his previous life, but due to a curse by Mother Parvati, he had to take birth as Vritasura in this life. And Vritasura was created just to kill Indra, right? So then in the midst of this Satyuga and Treta Yuga, that during that time frame, there was a Devasura Yuddha, I mean, meaning demons and the gods, that is demigods, were having a fight, right? A huge war broke. And during the war, so whenever there is a war, the Indra approaches Lord Vishnu, I mean, to the Supreme Lord, and being the favorite of demigods, Vishnu promised to help them out, and he said, "You can kill Vritasura with this particular weapon," right? So I'm not going to go into the detail of that weapon but So there is a particular weapon he can use to kill. Now, but Vritasura was very strong and a big demon, and he was able to defeat all the most of the people, scare all the devas. But devas were also strong, and because of the promise by Lord Vishnu, they were able to send all these people away, the demons. And the demons got scared. When Vritasura saw the demons were very scared, he called them, encouraged everybody to fight and go for this war and get a proper death. Death in a war is more honorable than running as a coward, right? So so Vritasura then started fighting with Indra, and Indra got bewildered. Whatever weapons Indra was throwing at Vritasura, easily Vritasura was able to counteract, right? And Vritasura, actually Indra lost his confidence in the meantime. At that time, Indra realized that he is not an ordinary person, and Vritasura remembered his devotional services and everything. Vritasura actually wanted to encourage Indra to kill him. Why? Because Vritasura know that Lord Vishnu has already destined my destination, that I had to be killed by this particular weapon. But when then Vritasura was encouraged by Vritasura encouraged Lord Indra to use this weapon, and he kept on praising Lord Supreme Lord. And the reason he was saying was Vritasura is going to have a better destination here, because once skilled by this weapon, he is going to go back to Godhead. Whereas Indra, who actually wants to enjoy this material world, he can only continue to enjoy the material world. But look at the difference. Vritasura is at a position where a position of a pure devotee. Whereas Indra, being such an elevated person, he still wants to enjoy the material world. That is the pull we are talking about. So it is not an ordinary force. We need to fully dedicate ourselves to the devotional service. That's the only way, one and only way we can get out of this three modes of material nature. With that, I think it is time for me to end. I will see. So before that, let me see. What are the things we learned today? We know that the three modes are going to act once we are in this material world. It will pull us in some direction, and we need to resist all these pulls and focus our attention on Krishna. And we need to transcend all these three modes of material nature. So with that, if there is any questions and comments, we can discuss now.
Devotees, anyone online or in the temple room, if you have any questions, please ask. For appreciation, we would like you all to just send a text message because of the time constraints. Any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
The story you said about the Colonel Petro, I mean, in one sense, he paused and then, he did, but in other sense, what if it has been real?
Right. Wonderful question. Thank you. So that is the chance he had to take. He had to rely on Krishna for that. Right? So, yes, we will all encounter that situation, definitely. It's quite possible. But if he had he taken a decision to do the other way, the war was for sure. Right? This was the only possibility where there is a slight potential for the war not to happen. right? So this, in all sense, this was a better decision. But that possibility is always true. That's there. That is where the bewilderment comes, right? So that's a tough decision. So that's why we rely on Guru and Krishna in such things, and the scriptures, right? So we have to always take the shelter of Guru, Krishna, and scriptures in situations of difficult time. And I'm sure we all will encounter this. It's happening in our day-to-day life every time. So we just have to take shelter of Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes. It's for the people on the... Okay.
Prabhu, when you said the second story, the recent one, the Indra killed the temporary guru.
Yes.
So for that he did not get any punishment,
Yes.
killing the guru.
He actually had punishments. So in fact, he distributed all the karmas to various demigods. So there's a lot of story in that one. So there was karma for that. He distributed among. Several verses are there actually on that. It's not one demigod. Like I forgot the sequences, but he actually distributed the karma to various people. Right. Thank you. Very nice question. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
Very
thank you very much, Prabhu. That was a very wonderful class. I'll just move there. That was truly fantastic. I'm sure everyone agrees here. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So let's move to the next segment of the program, which is Arati. Today, Her Grace Nirmala Mataji will be doing the Pujari service, and Radha Damodar, His Grace Radha Damodar Prabhu will be doing the Kirtan.
Oh, okay.
Devotees, please rise in your own places. Radha Damodar Prabhu. Radha Vinod Prabhu, sorry. Radha Vinod Prabhu will be doing the Kirtan. Thank you, Prabhu. We get to listen to your class and Kirtan. Yes, Mataji.
Okay, okay. Krishna. Ready? Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namaste Saraswati Deve
गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे।
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा।
जय श्री कृष्ण
चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर
श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा।
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा।
जय श्री कृष्ण
चैतन्य
प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा।
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य
प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा।
कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha, Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha, Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha, Haraya Namah
Krishna Madhavaya Namah.
Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudana, Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudana, Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana
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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Rama
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Water Can you get a water?
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha, Haraya Namah
Krishna Yadavaya Namaha,
Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha, Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudana, Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudana, Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudana,
Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gora, Hari Bol,
Nitya Gora, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol,
Jai Gaura Hari Bol.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada,
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol,
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Jaya.
Please bow down in your places. After the Prema Dhwani by Satyasara Prabhu, we'll have Narsimha prayers by Neeraj Prabhu.
Jaya Om Vishnupada Paramamsa Prajakcharya Sosrasta Shri Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jaya Om Vishnupada Paramamsa Prajakcharya Sosrasta Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Ritas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम श्री गौ श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन धाम की जय. गजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय. नवद्वीप श्री मायापुर धाम की जय. श्री क्षेत्रम श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय. जगन्नाथ स्वामी की जय. भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय. जंगमयी यमुनमयी की जय. सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय. हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय. प्रभुपाद ट्रांसलेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय. प्रभुपाद ट्रांसलेंटल प्रसादम डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय. प्रभुपाद ट्रांसलेंटल काउ प्रोटेक्शन यज्ञ की जय. गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. All glories to the assembled devotees. Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
I don't sing well, so please bear with me. Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Prahlad Lad Dahine.
Prahlad Lad Daine.
Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha.
Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha.
Shilatankana Khalaye.
Shilatankana Khalaye.
Ito Narsimha Parto Narsimha.
Ito Narsimha Parto Narsimha.
Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsimha.
Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsimha.
Bahe Narsimha Hidaye Narsimha.
Bahe Narsimha Hidaye Narsimha.
Narsimha Madhim Sharanam Prapade.
Narasimha Madhim Sharanam Prapade.
Avakar Kamalavare Nakhamat Prasingha. Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubhinha. Keshavadvita Narahari Rupa. Jai Jai Shahare. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Jaya Jagadish Hare.
Tava kare kamale vare nakha.
Buddha Jina Lalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubhinga. Keshavadvita Narahari Rupa.
जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवधीता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवधीता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंह देव 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 जय प्रहलाद महाराज 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल सर्व विघ्न विनाश नरसिंह भगवान की जय। भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज की शिला प्रभुपाद की शिला गुरुदेव की
जय।
गोपीनंद
Hari Hari Bol.
थैंक यू वेरी मच
Thank you, Neeraj Prabhu. That was a very nice Narsimha Arati. Thank you, Radha Damodar Prabhu.